I'm sure many of us know someone, if not you, who's felt uncomfortable talking about religion and money or just have feelings of shame or guilt about it. Welcome to Yahweh's Money, a podcast where we discuss the crossroads or intersections of religion and money. We're going to go deep into topics like tithing and saving and debt and so much more from the religious view. I'm your host, Shay Cook, CEO and founder, Crusaders for Change, LLC, and our co-host is Vanessa McNelly, one of our financial counselor, coach, educators. Let's talk about God and money. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Yahweh's Money. I'm one of your co-hosts, Shay Cook. Hey, beautiful Vanessa.
Hi, Shay. So today is going to be one of those days I think I may get a little, I don't know, my blood pressure may go up a bit. So
I hope not, but I might be there right there with you because today we're talking about women's wellness and the price we pay. And we really do as women pay a lot of money. I always make fun about how my husband pays a lot on wellness and skin care and all the healthcare stuff. But when I'm looking at the numbers, oh my God. And just us putting all this makeup on today, I'm like, oh my God, it's a lot of money that goes into women's wellness. So, and I'm not even talking about just like the health portion of it, just trying to look beautiful.
Right.
So whether it's healthcare, skincare, beauty, or fitness, women spend more on their overall wellness than men. This is a sector of our finances that not too many people talk about. So how are our finances impacted by our wellness expenses?
Gosh, this is such a big question. And I think it depends on the person too.
Totally.
My first husband was from like a really tiny town in Missouri, and they were like a farm family. So,
Mm-hmm.
nobody wore makeup. Nobody really cared what they look like. Everybody wore just like unisex t-shirts and jeans all the time. So, for people who are like that and don't really care about their appearance, it's going to be a little different than I guess somebody who's like me or you, Shay, who we care about the way we look. We care about how we present
Mm-hmm.
ourselves because we're in front of people a lot. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to impact each person differently on, the importance you put on that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it's significantly for many, and especially for me, for the hair, the makeup, the skincare, and clothes, and just by the way I was raised. My mom raised us to care about, and my dad, about how we look, how we present ourselves to the world, especially being a Black woman or woman. It's just like you go out of your door, your clothes better be ironed, your hair better be done, your skin better not be ashy, you better have some lip gloss. Back in the day, Vaseline on your lips, And so it was like always, my mom still to this day is like, you see them little kids walking around with their noses, everything. She's like, no. And why did mama look like that? So it's always been like that, back into my mind that you're supposed to look a certain way. So my daughter, I kind of raised my daughter that way. Why are you walking out of the house with some, with your clothes all wrinkled? Or, the presentation was always very important because you're always going to face a lot of adversity anyway, just being who you are. So it's important to try to look presentable, but also played a part, right? Especially when you're in professionally. Oh my God. I was just saying earlier, like I wore makeup every day I went to the building, whether it was a headquarters building or a family center or anything, because I wanted to make sure that I looked a certain way.
Exactly.
And then my hair was always done. I'm not the one that would not walk around and not put my hair back and not do it. No, I had to get my hair done all the time, and I still do. So it's very important that, and it costs a lot of money.
It does. I used to work in television and it was the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
You have to have this look and you have to look youthful. It doesn't matter if
Mm-hmm.
you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. You need to look your best and you need to look young so you can have a long career. So,
Yeah.
those things play a big part too. And then I think too, it's the people we surround ourselves with during,
Mm,
during work, after work, whatever. You want to put your best foot forward. And I
yeah.
think when you look good, you have more self-confidence too.
Yes, you
So it,
do.
it just impacts everything we do.
Everything. Exactly. And according to a Peterson KFF health system tracker, healthcare costs during women's productive years, specifically between 19 and 44, are costlier than men. In 2019, the annual health spending for women averaged 4,709 more than double that of a man or men at 2,261 and dollars. And maternity care, including pregnancy and delivery, is the reason for the highest costs. Women also have a longer life expectancy than men at 79 compared to 73 years old for men. So we not only live longer, we have the babies, we have all of the, and it's funny, they say maternity care. And as I'm going through, which I can't admit, but I am going to admit menopause,
Right.
I'm just like, there's a lot that goes into that as well. Like, there's a lot of wellness
Yeah.
appointments, a lot of different like treatments to deal with all the issues that come with menopause and those later
Mhm.
year women issues that, and I know men have their stuff too, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And, I think that's something that you and I have struggled with. And we've talked about it freely. I mean, gosh, I remember I was 24 years old and I had to have a surgery.
Hmm.
It was a reproductive surgery and I had no insurance. So I had to pay about
Mm.
15,000 for this
Oh
surgery
my
out of
God.
pocket. And that's a lot of money, especially when you're
It
24,
is. Oh my
first
God.
job, that kind of thing. But there's all these things you pay for along the way that men don't have to worry about,
Hmm.
even if it's just like monthly purchases. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's, like feminine issues
Hmm.
with the periods and menstruation and so forth, the
Hmm.
pads that go with that and
Hmm.
all that goes with that. And then I was thinking when I was preparing for this, like, what do we is different? Like, even with clothes, like,
Hmm.
we have to wear bras. They don't, right? Or different, all the different
Hmm.
ranges of panties and stuff. And then remember with stockings and all of the stuff that, remember we had to wear under your skirt, what
Oh, the
was it called?
slips.
The slips. I
Hmm.
remember my mom used to buy slips and stockings for us
Yep.
all the time because we had to wear to church
Yep.
or on different outings. So I know a lot of women not wearing a lot of that, or that stuff is built into the clothes these days. But I was like, oh my God, all of the stuff that you have to
Hmm.
buy as a woman, and
Hmm.
then of course for your hair, man can just cut it and do this. And and I know men are doing a lot of more of this stuff now and it's more acceptable now, but the coloring and the pressing and the relaxing
Hmm.
and all of that stuff that goes with it. It's a lot. I
It's
know
a
I keep on
lot.
saying it's a lot, but just thinking about it makes me like, oh my God, being a woman is expensive.
It's very expensive, especially when, you care about these things. And I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing is just, knowing how to make your money last in those areas
Mm-hmm.
and find ways to cut and do certain things yourself if you're able to, so you can
Yeah,
spend money on other
exactly.
things. But yeah,
Exactly.
everything is just so expensive when it comes to it. I mean, gosh, just think about like the cost of like pads and tampons every month. Like,
I
I mean,
know.
I had a hysterectomy when I was 29. So I always think
Oh my
about all those
God.
years that I didn't have to pay for those.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing.
I know exactly. I just had mine's last year, but I had my period. I'm just gonna put it out there. Shoot, I don't care. Since I was 10 years
Hmm.
old. So that's 33 years, 33, 34
Yep.
years of all of that, and I was just yeah, I'm thankful, even though hysterectomy brings other
It
issues,
does. Yep.
but not being and having to worry about that part of it is really, really nice.
Totally. Yeah.
So and another study by and styleseat.com, women spend on average of $124 a month on beauty, fitness, and wellness compared to men only spending $94 a month. These expenses including, as we've shared already, hair expenses, gym membership, mental health services, and it's a lot. And I mean, but in First Corinthians 3:16 through 17, it says, do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy and you are the temple. And I say, hey, that's facts, right? We all need to
Yeah.
do better in taking care of God's temple. But like
Exactly.
you were saying, Vanessa, not everybody cares about it as much as the next person, or but when you do, it gets to be
It
expensive.
does. And this can play a part in a lot of different areas too. I mean, if you're smoking, if you're drinking excessively,
Mm,
if you're eating very, very unhealthy foods, not working
yeah.
out, all those things, that all
Mm,
plays a part in how you take care of yourself and you present yourself. Gosh, I
exactly.
remember being a little kid and my grandparents would always come get me for church on Sundays. And my mom would always get so angry because my grandmother would bring me back in the house and redress me because I wasn't dressed good enough to go to church. Because you had to wear your very, very best when you were
Yeah.
going to church because you
Hmm.
were presenting yourself to God.
Exactly.
So we need to think about that every day, and we do need to care about the way we feel, the way we look, what we put in our bodies, what we put on our bodies. All those things do
Mm,
matter.
yeah, that's so true. Even though every time we talk about food, I think about cheeseburgers and how I
Delicious.
know they're not good for my body, but I love them. So I mean, I need a compromise, man. Maybe I need to look into some vegan burgers or something. I don't know.
Cheat meal. It's a cheat meal.
Exactly. So, do we put too much emphasis on the way we look, or do societal standards, social media influences, celebrities, etc., influence our self esteem and behavior? And how do we prevent this from influencing how we define beauty? So, I say yes, all the above,
Mm.
whether it's societal standards or just how we feel about ourselves, it all affects our self esteem and behavior. And I know I just put like social media is evil because it just I go on here and I'm scrolling through. I was going, oh my God, the other day I was scrolling through social media, which
Mhm.
I try so
Mhm.
hard to stay off of social media only for the business. And I was going through Instagram and I saw LeBron James' wife, and she's so beautiful. And I was going through it and I was
Mhm.
getting pissed off because I was like, oh my God, like she's so beautiful. And I don't,
Mhm.
I was feeling a certain way. So I clicked off.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about J-Lo and Beyonce and all those kind of
Mhm.
people. And I'm like, I can't see these people a lot because then you start feeling bad about yourself. Like,
Yes.
why my stomach ain't like that? Why my breast ain't like that? Why my hair
Mhm.
ain't like that? Why my face ain't like that?
Mhm.
And and I stay away, but I see family members and friends affected by that and trying to live up to that
Yep.
standard. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you don't have that kind of money or time or a hairstylist or makeup artist to do all of
Yeah,
that.
it's so true. I
Yeah.
mean, I do the same thing when I watch my guilty pleasure, the Kardashians.
Yeah.
I do. I notice that my mindset starts to change, and I'm
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I need more Botox, or oh my gosh, I need to do this, or I need to do that. And it's like I put more effort in the way I look because I feel like I'm not good enough compared to that. You
Yes.
know,
So
and
true.
it's like we know this is happening. We know what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing, but it's like I still do it and I still watch it. And yeah, social media, exactly the same thing. You see all these
Yeah.
people and you compare yourselves, to these people. And then you have to sit there and say, wait a minute. Okay, their job is to look good. Like
Exactly.
they are getting paid to look good. They are, they have
Yeah.
a personal trainer, they have a chef, they have,
Mm-hmm.
a whole
Mm-hmm.
style team that does this for
Yeah.
them. And I don't have
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. The one thing I do
Hmm.
feel good about, but then I don't feel good about, is my butt be looking real good because I'm heavier. My butt looks as good as those women that pay for their butts, but then I'm like, nah, I don't want my butt to be this big for this long because I gotta lose weight. So, so other than that, when I see their behinds, I be like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
I got a behind like that naturally, but but I need to lose that behind, but
You
whatever.
saved
But
thousands of dollars, though.
save thousands of dollars by just eating them cheeseburgers, girl. I don't keep my booty looking like this. So, but how do we prevent this from influencing, how we define beauty? And I say boundaries,
Hmm.
right? Not believing the hype and what's on social media and loving yourself,
Yeah.
flaws and all. If Beyonce would say, we gotta love ourselves, flaws and all. So even though my booty is a little bigger, I love it mostly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
think I think that's so true. And when you surround yourself with people who think you're beautiful, when you have no makeup
yeah,
on,
yeah.
that's huge too. But I think there's a
That
time and
is
a
huge.
place for everything. So it's
Mhm.
finding a way to do it when it's needed and when you want to feel that little extra something, for date
Mhm.
night or, whatever. But just find those boundaries, like you said, and be able to say, okay, I'm comfortable enough with myself and I love myself
Mhm.
enough to be okay with who I am. And that is
Exactly.
so hard to
Exactly.
do.
That is so hard to
Hmm.
do. But get up
Hmm.
in the morning, look yourself in the mirror and say, "Hey, I love you."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's important. Just even when you wake up and you got all the crap on your face and you barely your
Hmm.
eyes are open, and be like, "You know what? I love you, chick. I love you, sir." Like, so and even if you don't, just keep doing it because I believe I've been doing
Exactly.
that recently and it changes the way I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I still got a lot of work I need to do mentally, physically, spiritually, everything.
Right.
And I probably always will to the day I die. But it's
Hmm.
just having that self-love. And so many people lack
Oh
that.
my
And can you
gosh.
imagine not having self-love and then getting on social media
Hmm.
and they wonder
Hmm.
why suicide and all these numbers are going up? Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot to
Yeah.
handle
Yeah.
and
I was
process.
thinking about this the other day cuz I'm 42, and I was thinking
Mm,
the other day, I was like, I am so okay with myself. I am
yeah.
happy with who I am. I wish I could have felt this way in my 20s. I was so
Yes.
uncomfortable in my skin and
Yes.
I wasn't good enough, and I was a lot heavier then too. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
all these things that you think about, and it's like if you could just go back and tell your younger self, like, you are good enough, with or without the
Mhm.
makeup, with or without the weight, with or without the clothes, all
Mhm.
those things. Like
Mhm.
those
Yeah,
things don't really, really matter when it comes down
they
to it.
don't.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
And so many women in my life in my 20s were in their 40s and 50s, and they would say that, wait till you get to your
Yeah.
40s and 50s. You
Yeah.
ain't going to care about all of that stuff, you know? And I think it's part of the process.
Mhm.
If we were feeling that way, it might be different in our 40s.
Mhm.
So I think we had to go through that time in our lives. And thank God we got to get here and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's okay to have makeup on or not. It's okay to love it or
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
It's okay to dress up or not,
Yeah.
but find your balance. What's good
Right.
for you,
Right.
you know? And I know, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, and it just and find a way to do it that will fit into your budget, when we're talking about money, you
Thank
know?
you. I was going to bring it back. Yeah, because this gets really expensive. You know, there's
Mhm.
articles out
Mhm.
there, and I've seen news, especially during the pandemic, how the cosmetic surgery has
Mhm.
increased for women under 45. And then even for men, I saw, because they're looking at themselves on Zoom, they were doing all
Right.
kinds of
Yeah.
facial, cosmetic
Mhm.
surgeries, including breast augmentation, liposuction, tummy tucks. You know, that's a big thing in our country and around the world,
Mhm.
really. But the pandemic really brought that. You seeing yourself on camera every day, you're like, okay, I need to change this,
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's expensive. That's an elective surgery.
Right.
So I mean, what do you say to somebody like that, and they don't really have the money to do it, or they do have the money to do it?
It's a lot because
Mm.
even as we're sitting here talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, my chin. That's something that I
Oh my
think
God,
about
Vanessa.
too. I mean, we all think about these things because we're not used to looking at ourselves constantly. And
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you do see those flaws, or
Mm-hmm.
somebody that you have in your life that's very open minded and says exactly what they think may tell you about your flaws. Uh,
Yeah. We all have those
oh
family
yes, we
members.
do. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think as long as you're choosing a few things that are important versus
Mm,
everything. I mean,
yeah.
like I've told you, I get Botox. That's something I do for
Mm-hmm.
myself. But because I do that, I cut my own hair, I color my own hair, I
Mm-hmm.
do my own nails, I do all those things myself. So I have the budget to do that.
That's smart.
And it's just something that made me feel better about myself.
Mm,
If I didn't have the money, I wouldn't do it, obviously. But I
yeah.
think it's finding those ways to cut corners when you need to, but still be able to look your best and feel your best. But
Yeah.
if you don't have the money to do those things, then obviously, you know, come up with something else you can do. Do a spa night at home. Do
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can find ways to do things that are not very
Mm-hmm.
very costly. But it's a hard place to be in, especially when somebody has very warped views of themselves, because I think that's what social media has done as well.
Yeah, it distorts our
It
views.
sure
It distorts
does.
our views of reality.
It sure
Mm-hmm.
does. And they think they need something, but they really don't. But they
Mm-mm.
see it in in their own heads. And that is so, so
Mm-hmm.
hard to do. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
I mean, the other day I ordered something online, and I think I ordered like a 2X. And in my head,
Mm-hmm.
I was ordering for the old Vanessa. And that was literally over
Oh,
10 years ago,
wow.
and
So she's still there.
she's still there. She's still there. And you
Mm-hmm.
forget, oh, wait a minute, I don't
Mm-hmm.
wear that size anymore. Or I don't
Mm.
have that anymore. I don't have that at all. So I
Yeah.
think it's so, so hard to change your views. But I think therapy
Yeah.
really helps with that too.
It really
Hmm.
does. It really does. Because I know in the American Psychological Association reported that reducing social media in teens and young adults significantly
Hmm.
improves body image about their weight and overall
Yeah.
appearances. And, that's why I say social media is evil, especially for the young kids, because they're comparing themselves to
Hmm.
everybody else's body types and
Right.
stuff, saying, oh, well, Kendall Jenner looks like this, so I should look like that. Now everybody can look like Kendall Jenner. So,
I
so
know.
it's just really sad that
Uh,
there have that. I mean, we had it back in the day,
yeah.
magazines and TV and
Yeah.
stuff, but it's just even more
It
prevalent
is, and it's so, just in your face constantly now.
constantly.
Constantly. And it's like, everybody has a different body type. Everybody has different skin
Mhm.
color. Everybody has different hair color. Like everything
Mhm.
is different. So you're never going to look exactly like that person. And why would you
Never.
want to anyway? I mean,
I know. Embrace your body. Love your body. Back to the
yeah.
self love. You
Right.
don't have to look like that. Not everybody has to have a small waist and a big
Mm-mm.
booty that
Mm-mm.
and a waist that's so small
Mm-hmm.
that you. Let me stop. But
It's true though. And I will say PSA to all the women out there, Men like bigger women. Just saying.
They really do. Something to grab on.
Exactly.
Hello. Nothing against the skinny
No,
girls
not at
either.
all.
So, but yeah, it's okay to have a little bit of
It
curves.
is.
I love some curves. I personally love a woman that has curvy
Mm-hmm.
body,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not,
Yeah.
it just that's the way I
Yeah.
am. It's like I'm like that. And even in Romans 12 too, it says, "Do not be conformed to this world," and I would add, "Do not be conformed to the virtual
Mm-hmm.
world or the social media, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." So go to God, go to your safe space, your quiet place, and have a conversation with whoever you believe in
Right.
that's higher than you, and see who and what that looks like, and not necessarily go to worship social media or
Yeah.
a celebrity
Yeah.
or whatever that might be.
And that's
Yeah.
such a good point, Shay. It's like when we're having those doubts and feelings, we need to go reflect and we need to go back to
Mm.
what matters versus going to those
Mm-hmm.
things, that are just going to
Mm-hmm.
take us deeper into that depression or deeper in that hole that we're in. Yeah, go
Mm-hmm.
to the light and the good side. So,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Exactly. So, what are some of the ways we can reduce the impact on our budget when it comes to health and wellness? So, I say buy only what you need, but also
Right.
don't feel shame or guilt in buying something that will improve your health. It's okay
Hmm.
if you want to go out there and buy a new skincare thing or some makeup or some clothes or whatever makes you feel good and happy. Just make sure you can afford it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are so many ways to cut the cost. I mean, we were talking beforehand, like, hair dye. Like I dye my own
Hmm.
hair. It's usually 8, 9, $10, every month and a half. So that's so much cheaper than going to the salon to get it done. And I
Yeah,
get
really.
compliments on my hair, which is, always like a good thing. But it's just finding those ways to make it fit into your budget so you can do other things and you can pay for other things, or even just, adding in healthier meal options. Because that's
Hmm.
something I've been trying to do lately is, try to put better things in my body. And, it's okay to
Hmm.
save money here and there, but you
Hmm.
need to put quality things in your body.
Yeah. Well, you are what you eat. I
Exactly.
didn't like 10, 20 years ago did I really get that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
are what we eat.
We are.
Because,
Yeah.
when I eat that burger, I feel nasty and greasy and slow
Mm-hmm.
like a burger would.
Mm-hmm.
But when I eat some vegetables and some Brussels sprouts, I feel free and light and
Exactly.
green. And that's because I ate
Yeah.
something good.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, we are what we
We
eat.
are.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. The
yeah.
other day I made lunch and it was Brussels sprouts and free range chicken and a couple other veggies. And the guy
Mm,
that I've been dating, he was like, "Oh my gosh, this just makes me feel so good." Like it's
yes,
crazy how it does that. Like
it
it just
does.
feels clean and you just feel better and
Mhm.
your attitude improves.
Mhm.
And, so if you
Yeah.
spend money on things like that versus, having 27 shades of lip gloss, which I may or may not have in my purse at the moment. Uh,
I have about five, five shades.
way more than I need, and they're all so close into the same color.
They
Like,
are. Oh my god, you read my
oh,
mind because I was like, they're all like the same shades of red and purples and
oh
maroons.
no, mine
It's
are
like,
like
what is
always,
this?
yeah,
Sometimes I'll
yeah.
pull them out and I'm like, this is the same damn
I
color.
know. I've done that too. I've gone to the store and I've bought one. I'm like, ooh, I love this color. And I get home like, oh crap, I already have two of these. And it's always like in the raisin family for me, like always in the
Exactly.
raisins.
Oh yes, I love the raisins too.
But like I notice I go in my purse and yeah, I pull out like all these things and I'm like, why do I have 12 shades of lip color in my purse and I'm carrying this around with me every day? Like this is so
Oh my
dumb.
god, but
So dumb.
that's so funny. See, we're all a part of this. We all been there, done that.
We
But we just
do.
got to be conscious of what we're
Hmm.
doing. And there's like for wellness programs, your insurance plan might cover it, right? They might offer. I know
Exactly.
like mine, they offer like free coaching for a time there, and so
Hmm.
you can talk to a fitness coach. And then we've talked about going to beauty schools and massage
Yes. Hmm.
schools to get free services or discounted
Hmm.
services, or there's so many ways, or do it yourself like you said.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different ways to find
Yeah.
discounts and savings on things that will help you feel better.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to go to beauty school like once a month, and I for $20, and this is dating myself 20 years ago, I could get a manicure, a pedicure, a facial, and a massage.
Oh my God.
$20, you know?
Yeah, that's not happening
Oh my
today.
gosh, but it like made me feel like a new person. So
Oh,
there are so
wow.
many beauty schools out there and they need people to practice on.
They
And
do.
it's always like their last semester anyway, so they know what they're doing.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, or even like one thing I do, I love like foot detox baths, which is a little
Mm.
crazy, I know, and a little like new wave.
No.
But it
Yeah.
costs between $35 and $50 a session. I bought one online for $95. So
The full
oh
situation
yes,
massage.
yeah.
Really?
So
Wow.
now, like on the weekend, I will do a foot detox, and I'm like after two, I've paid for it.
You've
So
paid for it.
yeah,
Exactly.
and I
That's smart. And it's smart to look for that. Just like you saying,
exactly.
dyeing your own hair and all
Mm-hmm.
that. It just makes sense to, if you have time, we've
Yeah,
had
yeah.
clients that will say, I don't have time. I can't do this. So try it once,
Well, and how long do you have to
You,
sit at the salon?
I know.
I can watch my show. I can drink a cup of coffee. I can work on like some work notes while I'm dyeing my hair at home. So,
Wow.
you know.
Well, shout out to Textures because my sister has a salon, and then I started going to a loctician
Hmm.
there, and then she moved on to theirs. They get you out within an hour, hour and a
That's
half. They're like, yeah,
amazing.
that was always the thing. Like because when I grew up, I've been going to hair salons since like I was 4, and I remember it being an
Hmm.
all day
Hmm.
thing and sitting under the dryer for hours. I'm like, why did like this doesn't make sense to me? And so, but my sister, she
Hmm.
strived to do that, and she achieved and be able to get you in and out, hour and a half, whatever. I mean, of course, if you're getting color, it's a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
longer, but yeah, it's just like I don't sit up in no
Mm-mm.
salon for a long time.
Mm-mm.
I can't anymore.
No.
but but yeah, there's a lot of ways to get discounts and savings, so you should definitely look at it. Check out the massage schools, the beauty
Yeah.
schools, your insurance
Yeah.
plan, discounts. I don't buy like my makeup and stuff
Hmm.
on full price. I'm
Hmm.
always looking for a sale or a coupon.
Right.
I think every time I'm buying anything online or in store, I'm actually pulling out my phone looking. I will Google the store
Hmm.
name and look for discounts and
Hmm.
coupons
Yeah.
before I buy anything. I just don't believe in buying full price.
Groupon is another great option.
Groupon,
Yes,
yeah,
for like
exactly.
massage therapy. Heck, I do Botox through them sometimes. And it's like you save 50%. Uh,
Oh wow, that's
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Or teeth whitening or any of those things. You can save a
Yeah,
ton of money. So,
yeah,
mhm,
should never pay full
I agree.
price. So, any final thoughts?
I say, just if you want to do something because it truly makes you feel better about yourself and you can afford it, do it. If not, find other ways and pick and choose. Don't do it if it's something someone else is pressuring you into do it because you're good
Exactly.
enough. You are more than good
Exactly.
enough with or without it.
Amen. Amen. And women's wellness is it's important to
Yeah.
all of us, whether you're a woman, man, or anything in between or outside of that. It's important to take care of your wellness, but self-love is very important. Like Vanessa's saying, we're all worth it. And, love yourself first before you start loving on other people or looking at other people and trying to compare and compete. So, oh, well, that was an amazing episode. Our next episode will be living with loans, which I'm excited to talk about that too, because I've been there, done that. So thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us wherever podcasts are found. And remember, it's always better Yahweh's way. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the crossroads of religion and money. Also, we would love to hear your feedback on today's episode, so please leave us a review or just tell us what's on your mind. And remember to follow our podcast. If you have any questions or suggestions of topics for us to discuss, please email us at yahweh@crusaders4change.org. To hear all of Yahweh's Money latest episodes, please visit us at www.crusaders4change.org or wherever podcasts are found. God bless.